Hello, 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 and welcome back to my channel. This should be a shorter video. We're gonna do my February wrap up. I didn't read as much in February as I had wanted to, but it's fine. I only read 3 books in February, and 2 of them are from the same series, so it's fine. So I'm gonna lump the first 2 together just because that makes sense to me. And those 2 were Glow of the Everflame and Heat of the Everflame. These are books 2 and 3 in the Kindred's Curse Saga by Penn. These were some pretty hefty books. Let's see how big they were. So, I'm sorry. The 1-year-old is down here playing while I do this. So if you hear some toys in the background, that is why. So this is part of the Kindred's Curse Saga, which is a romantasy where we've got 2 kinds of people. We have mortals and we have the magic-bearing folks who are called descended. And our main character, DM, she is a mortal living in Mortal City in the Kingdom of Luminos, and there are 9 kingdoms. Basically, the descended don't really like mortals and kind of wish to, just wish they weren't around. So there is kind of an underground rebellion, familial secrets. So DM's kingdom is, their king is about to die and the crown will pass to the next most powerful person in their kingdom. DM is a healer in Mortal City. Her mother has gone missing. She's been missing for 6 months when our story really picks up. And she takes over her mother's job as the palace healer, where she had been healing the king until his passing. That is our story. Glow picks up directly after Spark of the Everflame ends. This one we get a little more intro into the magic system across all the kingdoms, across the descended people, and we make some friendships, we uncover some secrets, and we come into who DM is as a person. And then in Heat, we get even more. We start to the world building starts to branch, and we're getting more of the kingdoms and their magic. So even more, we branch off and get to know the other kingdoms' magic and systems and peoples. This one was really disappointing to me. I'm gonna do a whole series review when the 4th book comes out in June, because I'm pretty sure that's the finale, and that is Glow of the Everflame, or Burn of the Everflame. But right now I just have a lot of thoughts and kind of grievances. I don't know, there's just things about the characters in here that really irk me. Like the main character, I've never felt so frustrated with the main character like I do with DM. Her decision making is awful. She is just very reckless and impulsive, and it's really frustrating. And she also she gets hurt over and over and over and over again by these people who she's claiming are close to her, but doesn't, and just keeps going back to them. And I'm just so frustrated. It's so hard reading it, but I'm really hoping that the finale is just mind-blowing fantastic, because I love this world. I love the magic system. I think it's so unique and so interesting, but I'm a little more disconnected from the characters than I would like. So those were the first 2 books that I read in February. They were rather long. It took me quite a while to get through them, and they weren't really, I just didn't feel the urge to pick them up like I do with some books. I wanted to get through them, but also especially at the end of Heat of the Everflame, I was kind of disappointed in how it ended and just where the story was kind of going. I just hope the next book is a little better at coming together and finishing strong. It was really hard for me to pick this up and read it. Although I was reading these on my Kindle, I didn't have that drive. So, last book that I read was actually an audiobook, and that was The Martian by Weir. So in January, buddy, are you good? Oh, okay. No. So in January, I read Project Hail Mary, and I absolutely loved it, because even if you're not a sci-fi fan or have any introduction to sci-fi, you can read it and enjoy the story. This one, I feel like you need to have some kind of sci-fi enjoyment. I also struggle with this one because I listened to Project Hail Mary before I listened to this one, and these had two different narrators, and this was just a generic audiobook narration. There were no voices, there were no like sound effects or anything. Project Hail Mary had all of that, and that's what made the story come to life and was so immersive and incredible for me, that it took me a really long time to get into this. It starts off with just travel logs. Our main character's name is Mark Watney. He's trapped on Mars, and his crew had left because they thought that he was dead. So he's trapped, and basically the whole point of this book is just figuring out ways to get him back to Earth. And all the meanwhile, he's by himself trying to survive on Mars. It's a good story. I wish I would have read it instead, because it's a lot of logs. So it's basically like a diary. He's keeping track of his days on Mars and what he's doing and everything. But then this is where it lost me in the audiobook. We get some people back on Earth, their point of view and what's going on there and in the space stations. When I was listening, it took me a really long time to understand that this was a different point of view with different people, because there was just no distinction between Mark Watney and the space station back home, or the people that are working to get him home. So it just like really took me out of the story, and I had to figure that out. Whereas like if I was reading this, I would have understood it a little bit better. And like the log entries are titled better. For me, it didn't work as an audiobook, and I should have just picked up the physical book and finished it, but I didn't. It was a short audiobook, but because I listened to Project Hail Mary last month, this one fell just a little bit shorter on my rating. But I am excited to watch the movie. We're going to watch this movie sometime soon, and I believe Project Hail Mary comes out at the end of this month, so I am super excited for that. I'm not a big sci-fi girly. I'm a big fantasy girly. I love Star Wars, but sci-fi in general is not really my forte. But Andy Weir writes very good stories that are easy to understand and just have excellent endings. Thank you. That's a police car. All in all, it was a great book. Just probably I would recommend reading this one versus listening. Anyway, that was my wrap up for February. Super short, super easy. I'm looking forward to what I'm going to read in March. Today's March 6th, so we're doing much better on the trying to stay on top of things. It's just with 2 kiddos. My videos are probably going to be a little loud and a little chaotic, so apologize about that. That is the end of this video. Let me know, what did you read in February? What was your favorite book in February? My favorite? I don't really have a favorite. If I had to say a favorite, I would probably say Glow was my favorite. Sorry, Andy Weir, you can't have 2 favorites in a row. What are you looking forward to reading in March? I'm reading a bunch of rom-coms, and there's a new fantasy that I just discovered yesterday that I am super pumped to read. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and we'll talk about that in my March wrap-up. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!